Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Environmental problems have forced the closure of another primary school. This time, the issues arose from some unwanted birds that have made the school their home over the years, as we hear from Kishmar Sanjus.
It was just after 9 when a decision was taken to close the Allerton Primary School here in St. George. The reason, a flock of pigeons that is creating several health challenges. Aside from the bird mess, mites and the stench are affecting students and staff on the infants block.
The Barbados Union of Teachers got a letter, well, 2 letters from members of staff, in addition to telephone calls earlier this week in relation to a problem at Allerton Primary with pigeons that are living in the roof of the infant block, and they also complained of itchy skin and the presence of mites from the pigeons. I guess it is a problem that has plagued this school over the last few years, because we were here probably about 3 years ago with a similar problem on the other block.
BUT President Pedro Shepherd was among a team on hand to see the work to rid the school of these pesky birds.
Work would have been done on the school last night. When I went onto the block, I noticed the ceiling of the entire top floor had been removed. It was still on the corridors and inside of the classrooms. The workmen are currently now removing it and putting it into the bins.
Some parents and guardians responded quickly on hearing of the closure of this St. George school.
I only now get the message, so that's all I can tell you.
Next step here now for you and your kids.
Well, look for some place to carry them so I can get to work.
A teacher called me and just allowed me to know that the school was closed and to come and collect my niece from at school. Actually, niece, not daughter.
And Mr. Shepherd wants the block to undergo a full industrial cleaning before Allerton Primary is reopened.
I believe it can be done over the next 2 or 3 days. You have today, tomorrow, Friday, 3 work days, and then you have the weekend. I believe you can do your industrial cleaning and so on. So I suspect that with constant work, that the students and the staff could return probably by Monday, but I'm not going to put a timeline on it because that is left up to the Ministry of Education and the officers from EPIU to make that determination. But from my layman perspective, I don't see school happening here until certainly next week.
Kishmar Sanjus, CBC News.
Approximately 1,500 people turned out for day 2 of Sandals Barbados' ongoing job recruitment exercise. This time, it was without incident. Ryan Broom has the story.
A sharp contrast at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Centre today for the Sandals Barbados job recruitment exercise, as everything ran smoothly with the use of barriers like this one and a ticketing system. The only similarity with the first day is that people again started to gather from as early as 6 in the morning. This time around there was calm and order as organizers utilized barricades to create a single line from one side of the building and one entrance. A ticketing system was also utilized and the line moved quickly throughout the morning. Sandals Barbados General Manager Joseph Zellner said they made a decision to start the interviews about an hour and a half earlier than planned because of the early crowd.
We probably, so far, it's around midday, we probably process about 500 to 600 persons. The interesting thing is we came already, the job fair starts at 9 o'clock. So my team, we came already this morning at 6 o'clock. And I was surprised to see already 400 Bayesians waiting patiently at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we started already to bring the first Bayesians in. At 7:30 in the morning we started the process. So we started an hour and a half earlier, which helped to get the persons a little out earlier from the sun.
By just after 12 noon, the line of people was gone from outside as a large waiting area was created on the inside. Mrs. Zellner talked about the new measures they put in place.
We put some additional security in place and structure it a little bit different to have people more in line, so to not to have 2 big crowds. Again, we are surprised that so many persons show up again today in the thousands.
He also made an appeal to job seekers to pay closer attention to the job categories being advertised for the specific days. He said they will not be interviewing for categories that have already gone. Meanwhile, one of the people who unsuccessfully lined up on the first day was happy that she was finally able to be interviewed.
The interview process was really nice. Just got to speak fluent, ask the questions, give them back feedback, let them give you feedback, and Well, as you can say, it was good. I feel like I got a better chance today than I had yesterday because you will be more relaxed today and more prepared on how to come and approach the people.
It was the first try for 23-year-old Calvin Rowe.
I got here about 6 o'clock this morning, so about 12 something, you know.
So what job are you interviewing for? What are you hoping for?
Oh, I was hoping to work in the kitchen as a kitchen assistant.
Okay, so you found how did you find the process this morning based on what you had heard?
It was kind of tiring at times, but it came out, turned out very well though, cause by the end, a lot of us are here this morning, so, you know, it was great. It was really great for truth.
So the advice from the organizers is clear. Be very sure about the job category that you're coming to interview for before you come, because they will not be doing interviews for categories that were already advertised. Reporting from the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center, I'm Ryan Broom for CBC News.
President of the National Union of Public Workers, Walter Maloney, says when General Secretary Dennis Clark leaves office at month-end, Deputy General Secretary Rosalind Smith will act in the position. He says this will continue until a successor to Mr. Clark is appointed by the Council of the Union, following a search, whether internal or external.
We have always had whoever's the deputy acted for the General Secretary. In some case, matter of fact, we usually act in other places that where people never used to act for the General Secretary, in other places. But in NUPW, because of the structure, the General Secretary, when he is not there, the deputy acts. And the Assistant General Secretary acts for the Deputy General Secretary, and so on, so on, so on. So I'm saying, when the appointment is made, whoever he or she is, the person will act, and the council made that decision last week, that until the process has been completed, then she will act until that such time.
Barbadians must closely examine the industries they want to see set up here to give the island a competitive edge before agreeing to a 24/7 society. The call from General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Dennis Clark. He says the social aspects of a 24/7 society to be thrashed out first before its implementation. Mr. Clark was speaking to reporters at the launch of the union's Education Outreach School at the Insurance Corporation of Barbados office on Roebuck Street.
It could be of some value to Barbados. I believe one will got to sit down and determine the type of industries, etc., that you will want to go in this direction. And I don't see why it should be a big thing, because coming out of the school, driver industries that we had here in Barbados in the 1960s, you had this whole question 24/7. You were able to export. In fact, those industries were mainly export industries, which brought in foreign currency for the country.
Mr. Clark says issues of proper lighting of streets and the transportation of workers after hours have to be dealt with before a 24/7 society takes effect.
People can be hesitant while they want work to get in a 24-hour situation. So I think what is happening, there need to be very wide discussion on it, right? And we got to first identify the industry. Are we going to develop our IT capability to such that we can get into that operation or that business where we can find work for young people and go 24/7, or what? I am hearing all 24/7 talk, but I have not heard yet the type of business that we are going to get into that will bring revenue into this country.
Days of Our Lives, which has been a staple on CBC TV8 for almost 40 years, will come to an end from next Monday. Lisa Lord tells us why.
It's the norm to pass almost any home in Barbados at 6 in the evening and hear this theme.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Well, Barbadians will hear it for the last time on Monday evening when the final episode of Days of Our Lives will air here on CBC TV8. Head of CBC TV8, Cicely Clark Richmond, explains why Days, which has been showing since 1977, is coming to an end.
We were informed by our distributors, Sony Pictures, that the next season, which we would normally follow on, of Days of Our Lives, is no longer available to us, this is the 1999 to 2000 season. They would have told us that because of music rights issues, this series is not available to us in the Caribbean. We obviously would have tried to, find out if there's any way possible we could have, continue, find it whatever way possible, but we were told no, is not available to us.
Ms. Clark Richmond says she understands how much the popular soap opera means to Barbadians and emphasized that the corporation did everything in its power to ensure that Days of Our Lives would still be shown. Unfortunately, this was a matter beyond CBC's control. She says they even considered a more recent series of Days, but this was not feasible.
Obviously, we would have looked at that because we know that Barbadians love Days of Our Lives. But unfortunately, the cost is prohibitive because we would have spoken to the distributors and they've explained to us that based on the residuals that would have to be paid to the actors, the cost is very expensive, and we understand that. So that is a position that we're in right now. We cannot afford to continue with this soap. It is very expensive.
In the meantime, CBC will be showing the African soap opera One Bad Apple. So Monday, October 13th, the final episode for Days of Our Lives on CBC TV8. Lisa Lord, CBC News.
We'll have more news ahead in just a moment, but first we want to hear from you on this question. Is Barbados ready for the 24/7 work situation? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. The results at the end of the news.
Ebola is a rare and often deadly disease. If you have traveled to an area where the virus has been reported, monitor your health for 21 days after returning and call your doctor if you experience fever, headache, achiness, sore throat, diarrhea, vomiting, stomach pain, rash or red eyes. Before you go to the doctor or emergency room, tell your doctor about your recent travels and any symptoms. Ebola. Know the facts.
Sophisticated and elegant, daring and playful, or simply seductive. This year, make the change that's noticed. Refine your style with designer eyewear from Quartz Optical. And now, getting that perfect look is more affordable than ever before. Shop with our unbeatable ready finance payment plans and get up to 24 months to pay with no deposit. So come in today and get the look you want. Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
Barbadians are being told not to be alarmed if they see an increase in their water bills after the new meters are installed on their properties. This advice is coming from corporate communications specialist at the Barbados Water Authority, Joyanne Haig. She was speaking during this morning's Talk to Talk program on Q100.7 FM. Lisa Lord reports.
According to Ms. Haig, the new meters are simply doing what the old ones were not, recording every drop of water used.
The other meters did not calculate your water usage accurately, and in some cases not at all. There's no way a household of 6 or 7 persons will be paying the minimum charge, hardly. You must know then, if you're seeing the same bill coming in for the last 3 years, we were very kind to you by not billing you because we could not at that stage.
Thousands of the meters are already in operation, with the installation process still ongoing. The BWA also says it is willing to work with customers who may have a leak that went undetected, resulting in a huge bill. In such an instance, a payment plan will be worked out.
You woke up one morning, you saw a $5,000 bill, your heart skipped a beat, which we can understand. We don't want anybody to panic. There's help. and in terms of how we can resolve your financial commitment to us through a fair negotiated payment agreement at the Barbados Water Authority. And I say negotiated because we have to accept you, and it has to be acceptable to you in terms of moving forward. There's a means test that we're going to go through. We will do it with a level of confidentiality, so there's no need to worry.
To avoid that situation, however, Barbadians are being asked to check regularly for leaks. Conservation Officer John Yard explains how to read the new meters.
Once no water is being used at the residence, no tap is on, no shower, no toilet is being utilized yet, you observe that there is a plus sign on the left-hand side of your new meter. That is an indicator that what we call the forward flow, or water is flowing at some point in your service, and attention must be paid to that.
And if there was ever a doubt about how safe the island's water is, Engineering Manager Charles Marvell says it meets the World Health Organization's guidelines and undergoes a testing regime daily.
We take chlorine residuals and we do checks, not only Water Authority, but the Ministry of Health, they do it. Environmental Department, they also check.
BWA officials say the public should not hesitate to alert them of any irregularities with their bills and should not wait until their water is disconnected. Lisa Lord, CBC News.
Strong support for the 11+ exam from a veteran educator, principal of the Parkinson Memorial, Jeff Brooms. The educator, who celebrated his 39th year in the profession yesterday, says while he doesn't favor one-off exams, he sees nothing wrong with the 11+ exam as it is now administered. He made the comments at the NUPW's Education Outreach Program.
I do not think the exam does anything to anybody. I think the problem with the process is the allocation. What do you do when the children would have passed the exam, would have sat the examination? Because we do exams in class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, first forms. We do exams at the end of every year. We do all the time. The difference, and we do CXC exams, which have your life chance, but which can impact your life chances. Those are one-off exams. Combinations does not impact anybody's life chances as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Brooms agrees that children can be negatively impacted before the exam, which affects their performance, and that there should be criteria referencing to ensure standards. He believes children should also be encouraged to go to the school closest to them.
If we were going to walk around telling people that all schools are good, we are good schools, why are we so insistent that children who get 90 should go to these schools and children who get 20 should go to those schools? I want to believe strongly in two things. One, a component of the allocation process should be made up from continuous assessment. I've always had that view. I don't have a problem with the exam. We have about 40 or 50, even 60% of that mark going towards the whole thing. But what did the child do in class 1, class 2, class 3? That means nothing.
Regional news next, but first, a reminder, we'd like to hear from you on this question. Is Barbados ready for the 24/7 work situation? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. The results at the end of the news. Follow CBC